The Legend of Jigong, Chapter 120.
It starts as this almost slapstick, comical restaurant dispute.
Yeah, very comedic at first.
Yeah, but it rapidly devolves into this masterclass on lost gold, massive political bribery, extortion, accidental manslaughter, and a full-blown police cover-up.
It's quite a ride. I mean, the tonal whiplash in this chapter is just incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
It provides this really gritty, deeply cynical, yet oddly hilarious look at human nature and the justice system of the era.
Yeah,
It really shows how fragile wealth and morality actually were at the time.
for sure. So the setting for all of this chaos is the newly opened Shuangyi restaurant, which translates to the Double Righteousness restaurant.
Which is quite an ironic name given what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And this place is opulent. I mean, it's an incredibly lavish 3-story building. It's fully stocked with custom porcelain imported all the way from Janji.
Beautifully painted woodwork everywhere, too.
Exactly. It's the place to be seen. And sitting right in the middle of this high-end opening day crowd is an eccentric, decidedly shabby monk named Jigong.
Right, sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. So he finishes his meal, the waiter comes over, and we get a look at how commerce actually functioned here.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how the text immediately plays with the concept of charity and social hierarchy. The mechanics of this transaction are just really interesting because they establish the power dynamics right away.
Yeah, lay it out for us.
Okay, so the waiter tallies up the bill, and it comes to exactly 720 cash. Now, when we say cash, we're talking about copper coins. They're usually strung together through a square hole in the center.
Right, the strings of cash.
Exactly. And because it's opening day, the waiter's trying to build goodwill,
Yeah, make a good impression.
Right. So he offers Jigong a deeply discounted special deal, half price, but it has to be paid in hard copper cash right then and there. No credit.
Which is a fantastic deal. I mean, if I get 50% off a high-end meal just for paying cash, I'm taking it.
Anyone would, right.
Yeah. But Jigong completely ignores this. Instead, he makes this bizarre counteroffer.
That was so strange.
Right. He demands that the bill be rounded up to 800 cash. And he insists it be written on a tab.
Yeah. He refuses to hand over a single copper coin.
Exactly. And when the waiter hesitates, because obviously he hesitates, Jigong threatens to take the restaurant to court.
Which, in this historical context, I mean, that isn't just an idle threat.
Oh, it's not?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
A lawsuit, especially a frivolous one on opening day, it brings the local magistrate right into your business.
Ah, hey.
It attracts clerks, runners, and police who all expect bribes. It essentially destroys the face or reputation of a brand new establishment.
So it's basically extortion wrapped in a monk's robes.
Exactly. Jigong is weaponizing his poverty and his status as a monk to create a scene that the restaurant simply cannot afford to have.
Man. So the waiter panics, obviously, and he runs to the manager demanding leashing.
Right.
Now, if someone threatened my new business like this, I'd probably call the authorities myself.
Sure, most people would.
Yeah. But Leashing's reaction goes in the exact opposite direction. He looks over at this shabby, aggressive monk, and he doesn't see a scammer. He actually sees himself.
Yeah, Li Xing's reaction is deeply rooted in his own trauma.
Right.
He sees this monk's threadbare clothes, and he reflects on his own recent past.
He had it rough.
Very rough. He literally says something to the effect of, I know the difficulties of the poor. I was starving just yesterday.
Wow.
So he views this whole thing through the lens of religious charity and personal empathy rather than just a simple business transaction.
And he acts on that empathy in the most extreme way possible. I mean, he doesn't just clear the monk's debt.
No, he goes way further.
He tells the waiter to put the monk down for a tab of 2 strings of cash, which is 2,000 copper coins. Since the meal was only 800 cash on paper, Li Xing actually takes 1,200 cash out of the register and just hands it to Jigong.
He literally gives him the change on a debt the monk never paid.
It's crazy.
It is. Li Xing justifies this by calling it pocket money and viewing it as a charitable donation to a temple.
Like good karma.
Exactly. He figures the restaurant's going to make so much money on opening day anyway. Throwing some cash at a monk will generate good karma and get rid of a potential lawsuit at the same time.
I love that his idea of good karma just immediately backfires.
Instantly.
Because what does Jigong do with this charitable donation? He turns right back to the waiter and uses the cash he was just handed to order more booze and more food.
He just keeps the party going.
He really does. But the real issue isn't even the monk. It's the other customers watching this happen.
Right, exactly. The ordinary citizens sitting at the surrounding tables are observing this entire transaction, and they are doing the mental math.
Oh, you know they are.
They just watched a guy eat for free, threaten the staff, and get handed a massive pile of cash as a reward.
Yeah, the greed just becomes contagious instantly.
It spreads like wildfire.
So, okay, let's unpack this. If we break down the math these other customers are doing in their heads, it's essentially this complex arbitrage scam.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So one table decides they want the monk special. They eat 2 strings worth of food and then demand the waiter hand them 3 strings in cash as change.
Right. They are literally trying to pull money out of the register based on phantom tabs.
And the audacity just escalates so quickly.
Yeah.
Another table eats 3.5 strings worth of food.
Yeah, this one was my favorite.
Right. They physically hand over 4 strings of cash, but they demand the waiter write their bill down as a 10-string tab.
Just incredible.
So they claim the restaurant owes them 6 strings back in pure cash.
Yeah, they want the difference in cash right now.
Yeah, right. Let me make sure I'm wrapping my head around this. So they want to pay 4 strings today, but have the restaurant write an IOU saying they owe 10 strings just so they can demand 6 strings back right now.
That is exactly what they're doing.
It's like asking a bartender to deliberately overcharge your credit card by $500, hand you the $500 in cash from the till, and you just plan on never, ever paying the credit card bill.
That is the perfect modern equivalent.
It's blatant theft disguised as accounting.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it works on the assumption that a credit tab in this society is essentially a gentleman's agreement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is notoriously difficult to collect on, while hard copper cash is immediate, tangible wealth.
Right.
So they are trying to trade worthless promises for physical money, assuming the manager is so terrified of a commotion that he'll just pay them off like he did the monk.
Human nature doesn't change, does it? I
Yeah.
mean, give people a perceived loophole and they will drive a truck through it.
Without hesitation.
They see a vulnerability in Lixing's management style and they just swarm it.
The text actually uses a very famous proverb here to summarize the situation.
Oh, what is it?
The gate of charity is hard to open and hard to close.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Leon opened that gate out of genuine, perhaps naive compassion for Orlizich's figure.
Yeah.
But the moment it cracked open, the sheer weight of his neighbor's greed threatened to tear the door off its hinges.
And this is where Li Jing finally loses his saintly patience. He snaps.
He hits his breaking point.
Yeah, he stands up in the middle of this lavish dining room and delivers this furious speech to the crowd. He basically says, I gave money to that monk because he's a man of the cloth, and I know what it's like to have nothing.
Right.
But I am not going to be extorted by the rest of you. He draws this hard line, stating he didn't get his wealth by robbing people on the highway or mining for silver. He insists he earned his position.
Yeah, he's trying to assert a moral high ground to shame the crowd.
Exactly.
He's essentially saying, I'm a self-made man, I understand poverty, but I won't tolerate theft.
But there's a problem with that, isn't there?
A huge problem. His claim about being a self-made man who earned everything through honest, sweat-of-his-brow labor, that is a massive, almost delusional stretch.
It's a complete fabrication.
Completely.
And the narrative knows it, which is why we don't just stay in the restaurant. The story hits pause right here and yanks us back in time to explain exactly how a guy who claims he was starving just yesterday is suddenly running a multi-story custom porcelain restaurant.
Yeah, this flashback is crucial. To understand Li Xing's mindset, we really have to look at his origins.
Right.
Just a short time before this opening day, Li Jing was a frugal, hard-working waiter at a totally unremarkable local joint.
Just a regular guy.
Yeah. He married the daughter of a widow, had 2 kids, and found himself completely unable to keep his head above water. His honest wages simply couldn't feed a family of 4.
He's the ultimate archetype of the struggling everyman.
Precisely.
He works hard, he plays by the rules, and he's just losing badly. But then he gets what seems like a lucky break.
A very lucky break.
A wealthy patron, Mr. Zhao, notices Li Xing's work ethic and loans him 500 silver to open his own small restaurant.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be like the American dream or, the Ming Dynasty equivalent.
Right, but the reality of commerce completely crushes him.
Oh, yeah.
Despite doing all the cooking, cleaning, and managing himself, the business fails miserably. He's bleeding money.
And 500 silver is a lot, right?
To give you a sense of scale, silver was the currency of serious business. much more valuable than those strings of copper cash we talked about.
Right.
So a 500 silver loan is a massive, crushing weight.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mr. Zhao, out of pity, essentially forgives the debt
Yeah.
and tells Li Xing to just keep whatever meager scraps are left.
Wow.
So Li Xing and his family are living in the back room of a failing empty shop, literally staring down starvation.
It's just so bleak, but then a very specific group of customers walks through the door.
Yeah, this changes everything.
One afternoon, these incredibly wealthy, arrogant servants from the estate of a powerful government official, Minister Qin, they come into his empty restaurant.
Right, they demand privacy.
Yeah. They order food, and they are not paying in copper cash. They pull out a physical scale right there on the dining table and start weighing massive ingots of gold.
The contrast there is staggering.
It really is.
You have Li Xing, whose entire life was ruined over a few hundred silver, sweeping the floors while these men casually chop up gold blocks.
It's like two different worlds.
Totally. They toss Li Xing 5 silver on their way out just as a tip.
Which is huge for him.
Yeah, to him it's enough money to guarantee his family won't starve that month. But the real inciting incident happens when Li Xing is wiping down their table after they leave.
Yeah, he finds a blue silk bundle that they left behind. He opens it up, and inside are 20 gold ingots, shaped like horseshoes.
Such a specific detail.
Yeah, and we're talking about 200 taels of solid gold. For a man who was worrying about where his children's next meal was coming from, this isn't just money. This is an entirely new life.
It is generational wealth falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
And it sets up a fascinating domestic dispute that serves as a profound moral test.
Tell us about that.
So Li Xing takes the gold into the back room and shows his wife, Wang Shi. Her reaction is incredibly pragmatic and immediate. She says, this is a gift from the god of wealth.
Which makes sense.
Right. She says, go buy incense. We need to pray to the heavens to say thank you.
And you can't blame her at all. Her children are hungry, her husband is a failed businessman, and a bag of gold just materialized on a table.
Any normal person would keep it.
Yeah, but Li Xing refuses. He delivers this line that becomes the philosophical core of his character. He says, ill-gotten wealth doesn't make a poor man rich.
He is terrified of this gold.
Really?
Yeah.
Terrified.
Oh, yeah. In his worldview, money that isn't earned carries a curse. He believed that if he keeps it, the inevitable search for the missing funds will bring the wrath of Minister Qin's men down on his head.
Ah, that's a good point.
Or the sheer bad karma will torment him to death. He views the gold as a trap, not a gift.
Is this a common trope in classic literature, like the pure, incorruptible peasant?
It's very common, yes. But the author layers this with such heavy irony because of where that gold actually came from.
Right.
These servants didn't just misplace their hard-earned salaries.
No, they didn't.
Exactly. The men at the table were the head stewards for Minister Qin. Their boss had recently tasked them with purchasing land for the family graveyard.
Okay.
Now, in this culture, filial piety and ancestor worship meant that officials spent exorbitant amounts of money on tombs.
I see.
The minister gave his stewards a massive budget, and these stewards simply embezzled the funds. They skimmed 1,200 taels of gold right off the top of the graveyard budget.
Wow, so they are literally stealing from their boss's dead ancestors. That is a very special kind of corrupt.
It truly is. They were sitting in Li Xing's restaurant dividing up the embezzled loot. That's what they were weighing on the scale.
Oh my God.
And one of the stewards simply forgot his cut. The 200 taels in the blue bundle.
That is just incredible.
So when Li Xing is having this monumental moral crisis, fighting with his starving wife to maintain his integrity, he's actually protecting money that was essentially embezzled by corrupt bureaucrats.
Boy, irony is just palpable there. So Li Xing runs out, tracks down the head steward, a guy named Qin An, and hands the gold back.
Right.
Qin An is so blown away by this, because obviously in his world everyone is a thief, that he tries to hand Li Xing 1 gold ingot as a reward.
A substantial reward.
Yeah. And Li Xing still says no. He tells him, if I wanted any of it, I would have just kept the whole bag.
That is dedication to a principle.
Seriously. So Li Xing walks home completely empty-handed to a wife who is weeping because they are still poor.
He passes the moral test with flying colors. He proves that his integrity cannot be bought, not even when his family is starving.
But in the universe of Jigong, pure morality doesn't exist in a vacuum, does it?
No, it gets co-opted.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, Li Xing's honesty puts him on the radar of these highly corrupt political operatives, and they decide they like him.
They view him as a novelty, right? Like a truly honest man in a sea of sharks.
Yeah, exactly. So a few months later, These same stewards hit an absolute jackpot. A lower-level government official is desperate to get an audience with Minister Qin. And just to secure a meeting, this official pays the 4 stewards a bribe of 50,000 silver.
We really have to pause and absorb that number, 50,000 silver.
Just astronomical.
Li Sheng's entire livelihood collapsed under a 500 silver debt. And these guys pocket 100 times that amount just for opening a door.
It's insane.
It perfectly illustrates how closed off and commodified political power was. Access itself was the most valuable currency.
Wow. And because they haven't divided this massive bribe yet, they decide to do a favor for their new favorite honest peasant.
Yeah, they get creative.
They take 30,000 silver from this bribe money, and they use it to build the Shuangyi restaurant. They buy the prime real estate, construct the 3-story building, import the porcelain, hire the staff.
The whole 9 yards?
Yeah. Then they take the remaining 20,000 silver and drop it into a bank account under Li Qing's name.
It's the ultimate money laundering operation.
Right.
They need a place to park this illegal wealth. And what better way than to set up a lavish business in the name of a guy who is famous for returning lost gold?
They basically set up a shell corporation.
Exactly.
And they don't even consult Li Xing. They just send a sedan share to his failing little shop one night. A servant tells him to get in. Li Xing says no, and the servant essentially says, I wasn't asking.
Yeah, they basically kidnapped him.
They kidnap him, carry him to this glittering new restaurant, and the stewards just pop out and say, surprise, you're a restaurant mogul now.
They hand him the deed, they hand him the bank book, and then they insist on swearing a blood brotherhood with him.
Oh, right, the blood brotherhood.
Yeah, they tell him, we love your good heart. We're brothers now. If we ever fall on hard times, you have to take care of us.
Okay, so this is where I have to call out Li Xing.
Go for it.
Because back in his little shop, he looked at a bag of gold and told his wife, ill-gotten wealth doesn't make a poor man rich. He was terrified of the karma.
It was.
But now he's standing in a multi-million-dollar restaurant funded 100% by a political bribe. And what does he do? Does he refuse it? No. He bows, he swears brotherhood, he moves his wife into the penthouse, and he becomes the manager.
Right.
His rigid morals completely folded the second the money was presented as a gift from powerful friends. I mean, what does this all mean?
Well, we connect this to the bigger picture. It's a brilliant critique by the author. It shows that in a deeply compromised society, isolated morality is basically impossible. To survive and thrive, even the most rigidly honest man must eventually become entangled in the patronage networks of the corrupt elite.
Right.
Li Qing's honesty didn't save him. What saved him was that corrupt men found his honesty useful for their own amusement and laundering needs.
So he stopped being an independent man and became a front man for dirty money.
Exactly. And the local community knows it. When the restaurant opens, all the local gentry and merchants show up with gifts.
Yeah.
But they aren't there to celebrate Li Xing the waiter.
No, of course not.
They are there to kiss the ring of Minister Qin's stewards by proxy.
Which perfectly brings us right back to the present moment on opening day with Li Xing screaming at his customers about how he earned his wealth, honestly.
Yeah, his sudden elevation to the elite class makes him a massive target.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone knows there is corrupt money flowing through this building and they all want a piece.
Like blood in the water.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the extortionist. Amidst all this chaos of people trying to scam free food, a new character walks through the doors. His name is Yao Bian, also known as Yao Huangshan, and he is a professional, full-time scam artist.
He represents the bottom feeders of this corrupt ecosystem. If the stewards are the apex predators skimming off the top of the government, Yao is the scavenger picking at the scraps in the streets.
The physical description the text gives for Yao is so specific and honestly grotesque. You instantly know exactly who this guy is.
Yeah, it's very vivid.
It says he has a yellow face, short eyebrows, small round eyes, an eagle nose. And here's the absolute best detail. He has exactly 7 hairs on his upper lip and 8 hairs on his lower lip.
It paints a picture of a rat-like, unseemly character.
Definitely.
It's a caricature of a man who makes his living through petty intimidation, fake lawsuits, and just causing enough trouble that people pay him to go away.
And Yao has been listening to the rumors on the street. He heard that Li Xing, the newly rich manager, just handed a monk a pile of cash simply to avoid a lawsuit. So Yao struts in, completely unprovoked, walks right up to Li Xing, and loudly announces, "Manager, you owe me 200 silver. Pay up."
It's a pure test of dominance. He assumes Li Sheng is a soft target, a former peasant who is now newly rich, terrified of his powerful backers, and desperate to avoid a scandal on opening day.
Yeah.
Yao assumes Li Sheng will just hand over the money to keep the peace.
But Yao's timing is fatally flawed because Li Xing is completely redlining at this point.
Oh, he's at his limit.
He's been bullied by a monk, he's been watching his neighbors try to run credit arbitrage scams on his food, and he is deeply insecure about his own status as a corrupt frontman.
Right, he's highly stressed.
So when Yao demands 200 silver, Li Xing doesn't negotiate. He doesn't pay him off, he just snaps. Xing walks over and slaps Yao across the face.
And this is where the chapter shifts from a social comedy to a very dark tragedy in just a fraction of a second.
Yeah, it's so fast.
Because that single slap kills Yao instantly.
Wait, instantly?
Yeah, Yao takes the hit, falls backwards, strikes the ground, and dies right there in the middle of the dining room.
It's unbelievable. It's an accidental manslaughter right in the middle of the grand opening.
It's a stark reminder of the fragility of life and fortune in this world. Think about Li Xing's trajectory.
It's wild.
In a tiny window of time, he went from a starving, honest waiter to a wealthy business owner backed by elite stewards to a murderer facing execution.
Yeah.
The universe elevated him to the absolute peak and then seemingly crushed him just as fast.
I mean, if you're a normal person, your life is over at that point. You are going to prison, or worse. But Li Xing is no longer a normal person.
No, he's not.
He has powerful friends. And the way this newly rich frontman handles a murder charge is chilling. The transition from panic to a hyper-efficient cover-up happens before the body is even cold.
Yet Li Xing is understandably panicking, but remember, who is sitting in the VIP section upstairs?
His brothers.
Exactly. His new brothers, the 4 corrupt stewards who bought the restaurant. They hear the commotion, they call Li Xing upstairs, and they basically tell him to take a breath.
Just relax.
Right. They assure him he won't pay with his life. To them, a dead body on the floor isn't a moral crisis. It's just a logistical problem that money and influence can solve.
You treat it like a spilled bowl of soup.
Yeah.
You just call for the cleanup crew. And their cleanup crew happens to be a man named Head Lei.
Head Lei is a local police chief, essentially a squad commander for the county. And naturally, he is at the restaurant attending the opening party.
Eating the lavish food paid for by the bribe money, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is already deeply embedded in their patronage network.
So the stewards just wave the police chief over and say, hey, we have a minor situation downstairs. Can you make this go away?
And Lei doesn't even blink. He walks downstairs, looks at the corpse, and immediately finds one of his own beat cops, an officer named Lu San.
Okay, and what does he tell him?
Lei pulls Lu San aside and gives him his marching orders. He tells him to grab the dead body, drag it out into the street, and officially report it as an unidentified John Doe who dropped dead of sudden illness.
Just completely sweep it under the rug.
Yes. Lei explicitly quotes a cynical rule of the bureaucratic system. Officials don't investigate if clerks don't report.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's the ultimate blue wall of silence. Lei knows that the higher-up magistrates rely entirely on the paperwork generated by the street-level cops.
Exactly.
If the police report says it was a natural death of a nobody, there is no investigation. It's the historical equivalent of qualified immunity mixed with blatant corruption.
Spot on.
But Lei can't just order Lu San to do something this risky without a carrot, right?
No, it definitely requires an incentive. Lei promises Lu San that if he moves the body and falsifies the report, the restaurant manager, Li Xing, will pay him a couple hundred strings of cash for his trouble.
Ah, so they negotiate a bribe right there.
It's a direct negotiation. And Lu San initially balks. He says a couple hundred strings isn't nearly enough to risk his neck moving a murder victim.
I love that his objection isn't moral at all. It's strictly financial. Like, I'm not risking a cover-up for anything less than 500 strings.
Right. But Lei leans on him, using his authority, saying, do this as a personal favor to me, your boss, and I'll owe you one.
Classic.
So Lu San eventually agrees. He walks over to Yao's dead body and is literally reaching down to grab his ankles to drag him out the front door.
But before he can even lift the guy, yet another character bursts onto the scene. And if you thought Yao the extortionist was bad, this new guy makes him look like an amateur.
Oh yeah, he's a piece of work.
His name is Shidan, but everyone on the street calls him the Iron Rooster.
The Iron Rooster is such a fantastic cultural metaphor. In Chinese idiom, an iron rooster is someone who is incredibly stingy.
Okay.
The idea is that you can't pluck a single feather from an iron rooster. But in this specific context, it also implies he is hard, unyielding, and will ruthlessly squeeze money out of any situation he encounters.
The text gives him this wonderfully poetic, villainous introduction, too. It says he wears a four-cornered hat, his face looks like he just rolled out of a coal mine, he has shrewd, calculating eyes, and he makes his entire living off generating fake lawsuits and mediating conflicts he started.
He is basically the dead guy's colleague in the neighborhood scamming industry.
He is a professional parasite.
Absolutely.
So Shidan walks into the restaurant, takes one look at Yao dead on the floor, sees the police officer trying to drag him away, and instantly understands the entire dynamic.
He reads the room immediately.
Yeah, he knows the police are trying to sweep a murder under the rug for a payout from the wealthy owner, and Shidan decides he wants the biggest cut of that payout.
So what does he do?
He throws himself onto the floor next to the corpse and starts loudly, violently fake crying. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, "Oh, my poor uncle! My poor uncle! Who murdered you? I will avenge you to the ends of the earth."
He immediately invents a fake familial connection to a dead scammer, just so he has legal standing to claim damages from the restaurant.
It's brilliant in a twisted way.
It is sheer, unadulterated opportunism.
It's like extreme insurance fraud. And this is where the story hits its thematic peak for me. The text starts treating Yao's dead body as a human tragedy or even as a crime scene. The body becomes a piñata full of cash.
That's a great way to put it.
Right, and all these scavengers, the corrupt police chief, the greedy beat cop, the fake nephew, they are all just scrambling to grab a bat and take a swing at it.
That piñata metaphor perfectly captures the incredibly cynical view of the justice system presented in this novel. The law is entirely malleable.
Yeah.
Notice that there is absolutely no concern for justice for Yao, the dead man. The real conflict in this scene isn't about solving a crime. It's a tense, high-stakes negotiation over who gets the lion's share of the cover-up money.
Which is just wild. Head Lei, the police chief, sees Shidan screaming about his uncle. He doesn't arrest him for interfering with a police matter. He doesn't investigate the claim.
No, of course not.
He just grabs Shidan by the collar, pulls him into a private back room, and starts negotiating his cut. They're literally haggling over the price of a murder cover-up while the victim's body is still getting cold on the dining room floor.
It really highlights how normalized and procedural this corruption is. It's a well-oiled machine with established roles.
Right.
The elite political stewards provide the funding, the local police provide the official cover, and the neighborhood thugs extract their tax to keep quiet.
And Li Jing, our formerly rigid, honest waiter who refused to take stolen gold, is now the bankrolling center of this entire grim transaction.
He is funding the exact kind of extortion he slapped a man to death over.
It is incredibly dark, but it's written with this undeniable, gritty, dark humor. It feels like a historical true crime procedural.
It really does.
But just when you think this granular look at urban corruption is the whole point of the story, the text throws one last completely bizarre curveball to end the chapter. We get a cliffhanger.
We do. Picture the scene. The police chief and the scammer are in a back room intensely negotiating the bribe.
Okay.
The beat cop is standing over the dead body in the dining room, and the wealthy owner is hiding upstairs. And suddenly, the front doors swing open again, and in walks a Taoist priest named Sun Daquan.
Also known as the yellow-faced true man.
Right.
And he isn't there about the dead body. He doesn't even glance at the corpse on the floor. He is aggressively looking for Jigong, our shabby monk from the very beginning of the chapter, because he wants to challenge him to a magical duel.
It is the most jarring shift in tone imaginable. You have this incredibly mundane, realistic, hyper-detailed portrayal of police corruption and urban extortion, and then suddenly a literal wizard walks into the crime scene looking for a supernatural fight.